RNZ News at 1 o'clock. Kia ora, I'm Peter McElwain. An urgent program to vaccinate children against the deadly meningococcal disease is starting in Northland next week. The government says the virulent Men-W strain of the disease has reached outbreak levels in the region. The Health Minister says the free vaccination will target children from 9 months to 4 years old and teenagers. David Clark says vaccinating these two age groups is the best way to reduce the spread of the deadly disease. Immunisations will start next week at high schools and community centres across Northland. The United Arab Emirates has given a presidential pardon to a British academic, Matthew Hedges, who was sentenced last week to life in prison for spying. The pardon will take effect immediately. The BBC's Richard Gilpin reports.
Mr Hedges' family made a personal appeal to the country's president for clemency after a court in Abu Dhabi had found him guilty of spying for a foreign state. And now Sheikh Khalifa bin Zayed Al Nahyan has issued a pardon with immediate effect, which means Mr Hedges will be able to return to Britain once formalities have been completed. Despite granting clemency, the authorities in the UAE still insist he was a spy and have shown a video of him allegedly confessing to working for the British intelligence agency MI6. He's always denied this, saying he was researching security and foreign policy in the country for his PhD.
Richard Gilpin reporting. Conservation officials are calling for volunteers to help refloat 8 pygmy whales on Northland's east coast at dawn. The volunteers are being asked to bring sheets, shovels and buckets to Te Rarawa Beach, 60 kilometres north of Kaitaia. A dozen whales were stranded on 90 Mile Beach, but poor weather hampered efforts to refloat the survivors on the western beach. The Department of Conservation has held them in a stream overnight and will move the whales to the beach in time for low tide about 6:30. An engineering and maintenance company has been ordered to pay more than $300,000 after a transmission tower toppled with a worker still harnessed to it. Electrics Limited put up the 30-metre tower temporarily while the Waikato Expressway was being built. WorkSafe says the tower wasn't safely secured and Electrics failed to have a safe system of work. At the Hamilton District Court yesterday, the company was fined $332,000. A WorkSafe spokesperson says the worker was lucky to escape alive, but will be affected by his injuries and trauma for the rest of his life. A Papua New Guinea opposition politician has condemned the suspension of a senior journalist for relaying a story seen as critical of the government during APEC. EMTV's Scott Whitey was stood down, reportedly on government orders, after a New Zealand news item on the Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern not travelling in the Maserati fleet, controversially bought for the Leaders' Summit in Port Moresby. The Oro Provincial Governor, Gary Jupa, says the PNG government is veering increasingly away from the democratic principles of media freedom. That's the news.
This week on Inside Out, my picks of the best New Zealand jazz of the last year. Fantastic stuff from Umar Zakaria, Brad King, Anita Schwade, Heather Webb and Dog. The best of Kiwi jazz on Inside Out with me, Nick Tipping. Wednesday night at 11 on RNZ National.
On air, online and also on Freeview Channel 50.